First and foremost, giving all praises, honor, and glory be to the Heavenly Father and His Son, Yahawah, Sham, Yahawashi, Sham Kadash. Those are the true names of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. And the Lashawan Kadash, that's the holy tongue, the holy language. Alright. The Paleo Hebrew, the ancient Hebrew. Okay, Yahawah equals He is, He exists, that's the Father's true name. Yahawashi equals He saves, He delivers, that's the Son's true name. And Rekah Kodash is how you say Holy Spirit, or Spirit Holy in Lashawan Kadash. Alright. At the end of the day, these are the names you want to call upon when you call upon your power. Breaking it down furthermore, Yah equals He. Hawa means to be or to exist. Put it together, He exists. Then Yah means He. Hawashi means to save, to deliver. He delivers, He saves. And then Rekah means spirit, and Kodash means holy. Okay, so those are the true names, and those names actually, well, the name Yahawah is written upon stone. Okay, the Paleo Hebrew was written upon stone in various places upon this earth. So this is not something that's made up or created or off the internet or anything like that. All right, this is you have archaeological evidence that we use this language, before the colonizers, and before we spoke this colonizer language. Right, this is a Canaanite language, and that's according to Isaiah 19:18. We shall speak the language of Canaan, because the Proto-Canaanite language has the same sounds. Okay, so it all lines up, as well as a Phoenician language. Okay, so it's important to know these things, man. Second of all, double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of the great millstone, which rule well and teach well, and sincerity taught us this truth. Shalom to every brother out there pushing, preaching, and teaching, going hard, man, risking their lives to do so. All right, because we are definitely doing that by the path that we're on and everything that we're doing. You're gonna have extremists and individuals head hunting and trying to take us out. Okay, we understand this is coming. Okay, where you have civil wars and purge, and those individuals that they're gonna look at us as demon or speaking upon the downfall of America. Yeah, well, if we didn't even speak, guess what? This place was collapsing anyway. We have nothing. We don't have no economic ties in this place. We don't control stocks. We can't control your hedge funds. We don't control your banks. We don't control your military. So you are looking at your leaders. This is what you got to realize. You're looking at your leaders destroy your country, right? That's what's going on, and they're bringing it down piece by piece from the inside to the out. Okay, they're getting rid of this place. All right, so this is gonna be, a spiritual review of a show that I've been watching on Amazon Prime. It's entitled Cross, right? And they got 2 seasons out. Okay, and the seasons are, season 1 was pretty good, all right, and it has some spiritual aspects, but season 2 really hit the ball, okay, on what was going on. And I also tie it into it's a movie on Amazon Prime entitled One Battle After Another, okay, and where they're kind of dealing with like a rebellion and children being took and children being missing, and stuff of that nature. All right, so Cross season 2 ties into that same type of thing, which they got these corporate dudes, these CEOs of these major companies, and they had a child trafficking ring, all right, or they're using child labor all over the planet, and you got the head of it being this his name is Lance Duran, and he's like an Epstein type dude in a sense, right? Where he's using all these children to do all these different type of things, and it's like a whole organization, and they're covering it all up. And then you got this Jake female that's coming forth on the show, and she's taking out all these different individuals. right? Because she's going up the chain. She's taking out this individual, everybody that was a part of it, a part of the child trafficking ring. You know, she's going and taking them out in gruesome ways. And it comes out towards the end of the season that everybody's involved. You got politicians, policemen, you know, judges, okay, senators. You know, this thing runs deep, and that's what we're seeing. And I looked at it, I was like, yo, it's a coincidence that this came out. Yeah, was scripted, man. Okay, how this show season 2 lines up exactly with what's going on in the U.S. government. You know, with all these individuals being exposed, all these celebrities being exposed, which is what's happening in the show. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't no coincidence, to be honest, of them releasing the files when they did, them bringing out this wickedness when they did. They bring out these distractions. It's all bread and circus. They controlled it. They control a narrative, and they push it out when they want to push it out. You know? So let's get a precept, because this is it even goes to their laws, man. All right? Isaiah 10:1. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees and that write grievousness which they have prescribed. The law system is used, they manipulate it in such a way where they don't have to reveal the information at that point in time. They can hold it, they can hold on to it, and they can eventually reveal it later on, or they can say they holding evidence because it would disrupt the case right now. You know, when right is right, wrong is wrong. You know, so why would you release 3 million files and not release the other 3 million? All right, because it's a narrative, and this is what the American people don't understand, is that you're being played with. I mean, if somebody playing with me, I would feel mad, right? You're being played with. Your intelligence is being toyed around with. You understand? This is what's happening. You're being toyed around with and played around with, and it's called and circus. This is a term back in ancient Rome where they would give you bread and circus. Who would give you bread and circus? The senators, the politicians, the ones in a higher upper power, because it costs money to bring in the gladiators. It costs money to bring in the lions, the tigers, the leopards, all this type of stuff that they would fight in the gladiator, in the Colosseum. You know, it cost a lot of money to run the Coliseum. Okay, so the ones with the money, the ones in a position of power, would come and run these things, and they would do it to what? To distract you from what's really going on. All right, you got the Germans was at their gates. Okay, let's get the people bread and circus so they don't worry about it, or it's a scandal going on. Your freaking president is a PDF file, but let's give you bread and circus so you don't worry about it. You don't think about these things no more. Let's make it go away. Just make it go away. The citizens will forget about it in a couple months or weeks. You know, this is how Jake is. This is how the majority of people are. They forget about things, Slakia, right? Where they'll take a celebrity such as a Diddy and make that whole court case be a distraction to distract you from what's really going on. That your damn president has he's jumping out here and going into wars with other people that he has no business jumping into. It's not even his business to be messing with these other countries and their governments. This man talking about he's gonna take Cuba. Cuba ain't do nothing to you. They ain't do nothing. Ain't no Cuban did nothing to me. I love Cuban food, right? They ain't affect me no type of way. I feel like Muhammad Ali at this point. Ain't no Viet Cong ever called me, you know? But you over here, but hey, you give Jake, simple-minded Jake, you give them their NBA, their NFL, their baseball, because baseball about to come out right now. You give them all this stuff, their music, their concerts, all right? They're going to eat it up, and they're going to forget that they're even oppressed. Jake is forgetting that they're slaves. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Shalom, Yahawashi, Yahawashi, Barak. Hey, precept, let me get that. Psalms 94 and 20. Shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by a law? Exactly, going into these decrees that these individuals bring out, right? As it says, let's read it one more time. Woe unto them that decree unrighteousness decrees, and that right grievousness which they have prescribed. They're giving you, they're prescribing to you a certain standard, a certain way of living. And as it says in Daniel 7 and 25, they shall change laws. They've changed certain things and changed times to make it where wickedness and iniquity shall abound. Matthew 24 and 12. So they set the law up to manipulate the law. I lately been watching Suits. I watch Suits. I watch a lot of lawyer shows. Suits, Lincoln Lawyer. Okay. You know, anything to do with law, I like it. Like, you know, but you watch these Suits, you know, you watch these shows, and you see how a lawyer can manipulate the law to jump around it this way and that way. This is what's common. It'll be, well, they'll be like, oh, stipulation 357 in Article B, page 6, you missed this. This says we can do this. This says that my client can actually do this and get away with it. You're like, damn. All right? But that's going to them writing laws, writing contracts, and prescribing you grievousness. Okay? Remember when I signed up for the military? My recruiter the whole time, it was a Jake. He's from where I'm from. He talked like me. He was cool. He used to come pick me up, take me to recruiting class and all that. You know, we talk on the way. Like, yeah, you gonna love the military. Yeah, they pay boo. You know, I was dumb and I ain't know what the military is about. I was like, all right, my uncles did it. All right, cool. You know, they got money. I see them. They got houses. They got families. Okay, I could do it. You know, ain't no war going on. I'll be straight. So the recruiter talking to me, talking all this cash money shit, right? And then I get there, finally I got to sign the paperwork. I was told 4 years the whole time. Paperwork say 8 years. I'm like, what is this? I done went through everything and it said 8 years. And I'm like, what? Well, they said, well, 4 years active and then 4 years reserved. So they literally got you for 8, but you only got to do 4. But if a war happened, guess what? Who's going to be first took? The reserves. This is what these individuals now that you signed up, if you didn't read the paperwork, they got you for 8 years. You know, let's say you do your 4, you get out this year. Within 4 years from now, 2026, let's say it's a war, within those 4 years and a draft is implemented, the first ones that go in the draft is the ones that's in the reserves now. So you was just active last year. You've been out the military for a year. You the first one getting drafted. You're going into the war. All right? They use these reserves who they ain't been doing military status and nothing. They probably sitting back getting fat, doing whatever, you know, doing all this bullshit. You got to come back into active duty. You know? So these contracts is grievous, man. They always show you that in the cartoons where they'll have a whole contract and then in the fine little print, because it's showing you, the devil shows itself, man. That's Psalm 64. All right? He falls over his tongue. Look at that. This is verse 8. So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away. He shows you the wickedness that he does in all these type of shows, these movies. Getting back to Cross, because I'm gonna tie it into it, where he you know, just this devil shows himself. Now, going back to Cross had almost completed the case. Everything was done. He had a flash drive that exposed everybody. I mean, he had the politicians on there, the judges, the senators, everything. He brought that up to the FBI, and the head of the FBI was like, well, you know, we can't, you know, he's not the biggest fish. He gave us some dumb analogy about Jenga, and we don't want to pull that block yet. Okay? Because we don't want to it's bigger fish to get. I'm like, man, this dude wicked as hell. All right. And it came to find out that this dude he was in the pocket of the FBI. Okay? And that's how these individuals be. That's how, look at Epstein. He was a damn informant for the CIA. So when local PD would, find these things about him, it would be it would come up in the case as restricted or blocked or don't touch him or he's an asset, etc., etc. So they couldn't touch him. When the dude is doing all this type of wickedness, well, he's doing wickedness for us. That's how the government looks at these individuals. This is how you would see a snowfall. All right, they'll set an individual up to sell drugs, and then he'll constantly get away, constantly escape. Because if he's doing wickedness for the U.S. government, and this is how we look at the same individuals out here, with these 501(c)(3)s, okay? Where our channels is getting shadow banned, and we ain't getting the views, as you know what I'm saying, you see it, but you go over to I don't know page, that's what I call them, all right? They got hundreds of thousands of views and going out to the masses because they're sponsored by Esau to push out a certain particular message. You got this college over here, this what's that shit called? It's like a Baptist college or whatever. And if you look it up online, and all these Baptist colleges, a lot of them, it'll let you know that they're sponsored by 501(c). They get grants every year to continue, but they have to teach a certain doctrine, a certain narrative, right? So going back to Cross, when that happened, when he realized that the government was involved, he realized that the FBI was not gonna allow. And I gotta finish this up because my phone been in the heat. And while I park right here, it's gonna overheat. I know it's gonna overheat. Alright, but I'm gonna just alright. But when he figured that out, and the FBI was involved in all of that, he told him he didn't have a flash drive anymore, and then basically they told the cop to follow him. He knocked dude out, escaped. He had to be on the run for a time period because he figured it out, and the only way, and that that shit ain't gonna happen. They're gonna throw you in jail. All right, it was done for the movie. It was dramatic effect and all of that. He wouldn't escape in the real world. You're not gonna be the one to bust them all open. We sit here, we warn our people, we prophesy, we tell them what's going on, but you ain't gonna be the one to bring and take down the whole Epstein ring or to this dude. We know they wicked, but we can't do nothing about it. We gotta wait on Yahawashi to come forth and do something about it. All right, that's the only one that's gonna save us from this slavery. We could tell you everything that's going on, everything that's wrong, tell you not to eat the food, fast, pray, and all of that. Do it, most definitely. But you ain't the one that's gonna stop Kelloff from producing defiled food and defiled bread. We ain't, in this sense, this ain't about being no damn hero in that sense. So Cross was on the run. He got the files to the senator, and the senator actually put it out, and all of that, and he exposed these people, all right? And Cross had got locked up, he got freed, and then it was time for him to get a promotion because his office was cool, and they was like, hey, you did a good thing, you did a great thing. But what he did was he turned in his badge, he turned in his gun, turned in everything, and he said, I can't serve in a system that is this corrupt. I can't serve in a system that is this corrupt, man. And that's what you're gonna see, and that's what's gonna really spark off a lot of this civil war purge type of vibration that's coming, because these people are recognizing and they're seeing. You even got MAGA people that's like, no, Trump, what is he doing? All right. So they're seeing him for what he truly is, and they're gonna be like, I can't rock with this. What are you doing to us? So you're gonna have cops quitting. You already had this going on in LA doing CV 19. All right, well you had high up cops quitting because they didn't want to take the jabby jab and stuff of that nature, and they had cops leaving with them. So these tensions are already high, all right, of people hating the U.S. government for all the wickedness that they're doing. You know what I'm saying? So you got people, a lot of cops are gonna turn in their badge. Okay, and it's set up for them to go against. Let's get a precept real quick. This is Isaiah 19:1. The burden of Egypt, behold, Yahawah rideth upon a swift cloud, and shall come into Egypt, and the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. And I will set the Egyptian against the Egyptian, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. So a civil war, indeed. This is what's going to transpire. Now, you got these domino effects that's going to take place to get them there because of the wickedness, because the system is corrupt, because the judges are corrupt, the politicians are corrupt. Everybody can take a bribe. Everybody's being paid off. While they doing this and doing that, attacking, and once you start endangering the lives of others, where you got troops being sent off, and you got families that's like, yo, this is a pointless war. Why is my baby going to fight? For something that we don't believe in. And you got Americans getting pissed off and getting mad. These Egyptians are going to fight one another. It's going to be a rebel. And this is what the banking families is betting on. They want that to happen. This is why they're pushing it to happen. This is why you see it was these riots, these fights in Houston, Dallas, and Chicago, all at one similar time, where you had Jake fighting Edomites. You can see it all on the internet. All right, so that's what they're pushing because it's a form of propaganda as well. Racial tension at a new height, man. All right. Okay. Individual said, "What do you think about the Black Hebrew Israelites?" Well, you know what? Hey, about that, I'm gonna break this down for you, okay? It's no such thing as a Black Hebrew Israelite. All right, nobody is black. As you can see, my skin is brown, my hair is black. Okay, now that term black was put upon Hebrew Israelites in 1999 by the CIA. All right, so that's another tactic to drive people to basically antagonize the truth. Okay, so it's no such thing as Black Hebrew Israelites. Now the Hebrew Israelites, okay, the Israelites are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. That's according to the Bible. That's according to Psalms, the 49th chapter. That's according to Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. These are the people that's under these curses, the people that are being oppressed, all right, the people that are feeling it the most, the people that went into slavery, as you can see through history, where you had Cortez and them come over and take over. The Spanish, the French, the British, and the English come and take over North America and South America. Okay, now who was living in those lands? You had the Native Americans, you had the Aztecs, the Mayans, the Incas, the Puerto Ricans, the Cubans, etc., etc. All right, now it was written in 2nd Esdras, the 13th chapter, verse 40, that our people, and going downward, that our people would leave their captivity under the Assyrians, and they would come to a land where never mankind settled. Now that would be America. All right, so that's how we know that the Northern Kingdom is the Native Americans and the Latinos. Okay, so they are also Israelites. And then you would have the Southern Kingdom, which is just so-called Negroes, Haitians, Jamaicans, Trinidadians, etc. All right, that would have still been in the land, and you would have some Northern Kingdom still scattered in the land, but not a major population. So you had the Southern Kingdom still in the land. They would have been in the land to around 70 AD, and the land meaning Israel. All right, and they would have been scattered because they would have went into a Babylonian captivity, Okay, a Persian captivity, a Greek captivity, and a Roman captivity. All right, but they would have still been over in the land of the east. Okay, now they would eventually be reunited, in a sense, brought back to their people with the transatlantic slave trade. All right, now they would also be Israelites. So it's simply Israelites. Their language was Hebrew. This is what the Native Americans were speaking. This is what the tribes were speaking. They were speaking Hebrew, and then they were speaking different forms of Hebrew as time went on. You know, so that whole black Hebrew Israelite thing, you gotta get that out your mind. That's not a real thing. And you personally think religion is bull, but respect your decision. Well, religion, what we have is the truth. I'm gonna get a precept, and I gotta get back to the point. But this is let's go to Ephesians. This is Ephesians 4:5. It is one Lord, one faith, one baptism, one God and Father of all, who is above all and through all and in you all. So it's one faith. It's one truth. We in all those denominations things that if you think about those denominations, baptism, Methodist, all that shit is bullshit. I agree with you. Okay, Christianity is bullshit, but the Bible, the proper way that it's supposed to be read and used, that's the truth. That's that one faith. So, take it how you want. You know what I'm saying? He said Mexicans aren't a race, it's a nationality, and most Hispanics are mixed. Yeah, according to Numbers 1 and 2, you can't be mixed. You are what your father is. So if your father is a tribe of Issachar, all right, then you are a tribe of Issachar. Okay? Now, Mexicans go back to Aztecs, which go back to being tribe of Issachar. They're Israelites. Okay? At the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? And you have to go in the scriptures for this more so. I just gave you a brief understanding about it. Okay? And slavery still exists. But I'm not about to continue with it, going in with you. But yeah, slavery still exists. We went from chattel slavery, where hard chains and all of that, to labor slavery, where you're an employee, and you're basically a slave still. All right. Now you're about to go into chattel labor and digital slavery under this NWO, this New World Order, where you have one world government, one world religion, and one world banking system. Okay? All right? And that's all found out in the Bible. So if you still on that standpoint of thinking that the Bible is BS, then this ain't the lie for you, man. You know what I'm saying? But hey, shalom to the brothers. Yahawashi, Yahawashi, Ahtham. And the brother got the definition for religion: state of life bound by monastic vows. Also, action or conduct indicating a belief in a divine power and reverence for and desire to please it. Exactly. And we are religious. Okay? Y'all brothers, we don't do no religion. We are. We about to do the Pesach. We do the Shabbat. Right? We are a very religious people. We keep Leviticus 23 goes into religious festivals. So we are a very religious people, right? And we keep the practices, the customs of our ancestors. What Yahawashi wrote down and told us to keep, and what he really gave to Adam verbally. So anybody out there talking about we're not religious, we are religious. All right. So going back to cross, he put his badge down, he put everything, he put it down. He said, I can't be, and he was about to get promoted. They was like, yo, you want my job, you can have it. You want my desk, you can have it. They was playing jokes with him. And his whole mindset was, I can't do this shit no more. All right. I did what I was supposed to do as a cop, as a detective. And basically the US government shit on me. I did my job and came up against this opposition and found out no matter what I do, this system is too damn corrupt for any justice
to ever come through it. And that is America, man. You out here thinking you about to change shit. You on your Martin Luther King. No, it's too corrupt, man. All right, it is a burning building, man. You can't. You know, I don't care how many fire engines you got. You can't put this fire out. This is a grease fire. You put water on it, it only antagonizes it, man. It gets worse. So this is why you see all these so-called revolutionaries. Man, Nas made a song on Untitled. All right, what's that song? Basically in the song, the point being, he said, no revolutionary gets old. It's untold. You know what I'm saying? It's called Louis Farrakhan. Yeah, that bullshit. But the fact is that all these revolutionaries, all these individuals that came forth, a lot of them was created by Hoover. Okay, as he said, if it's gonna be a Messiah, we will create them. A lot of them, the government was in their pocket, or the government would allow them to get to a certain level, and then they would infiltrate them and take them out. How the scriptures say they shall, they spy out our liberty, and that's not even brothers that was in the truth. The government just do that in general. These are the tactics and the wiles of the devil, is to infiltrate your thing and spy you out and take you out from the inside. Watch Judas and the Black Messiah, man. That shit was cold, but that really happened. You know how they infiltrated the Black Panthers, and you got the Black Panthers around still today, but they're not doing nothing. They're not in the force. They don't have an understanding like that. All right, you don't win by carnal means. All right. Let's get these precepts. We got a precept. Is that my brother Shabai? Hey, Shalom. Yahawah Shem Barak. All right. This is Galatians 1:14. And profiteth in the Jews' religion above many my equals in mine own nation, being more exceedingly zealous of the traditions of my fathers. Come on. Now, in this point in time, to be zealous, yeah, it's good, but don't be over righteous, because we know we can't keep our religion to the best of our to perfectly in that sense. Like, hey, I come up once I get off this video, I'm taking the garment off. I'm not walking around with my garment and fringes on. No, we got to Clark Kent it, man. This is what a lot of Israelites don't get. You got to Clark Kent. Now, certain things like, yeah, you don't get no lineup. Okay, you keep those customs and you let that be. But I'm not about to walk around with fringes on. I'm not about to, you ain't walking around with a damn trumpet broadcasting. Really, bro, if you living correctly and you doing what you're supposed to do, your spirit and how you live and how you move and your characteristics is going to broadcast. Your morals, your values, it's going to broadcast that you were part, right? So going back to you being an inward, that inward man, let's get that. Yahawah Shem Yahawashi, what? He judges the inward. He looks at the inward. All right? This is 2 Corinthians 4:16. For which cause we faint not, but though our outward man perish, yet the inward man is renewed day by day. So inside, what's really going on, your outward appearance, it is what it is. Do your thing. You know what I'm saying? But we're not here for you got show Israelites. They show fringes every day, blah blah blah. You got the fringes on the window, the fringes on the whatever. Baby got fringes, etc., etc. It's getting ridiculous at this point in time. Things that we see, All right. 1 Peter 5:8, coming from the brother Shabai out there in Atlanta. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. Exactly. So he gonna eat up who he can. I love watching National Geographic shows where they hunting and they doing all of that. And the lion, it be the mother lion, really, the lioness that's hunting. And there, it'd be like a pack of antelope, right? Or caribou or whatever. And they're looking for that baby. Or they looking for that weak one. That one with a handicap that's limping or something. All right? Now, the pack is gonna protect. Because they gonna move and they gonna be okay. But if that one is falling behind, then that's the one that's gonna get got. So the devil is seeking, just like a lion, the weak one out. Like in Judas the Black Messiah, that weak one out was the dude, he had a case on him, so he had to cooperate with the FBI to bring down the Panthers. That was his crutch. That was his Achilles heel because of what he did and how he got caught up. You're gonna have Jake that might get caught up with the law and they be sent to infiltrate. You know, you see the same thing on the show The Chosen. Was it season 5? It was that dude, he hated Yahawashi, but the Roman dude came in there and he caught him up on a crime and he said, I need you to go and gather intel and do this and make Yahawashi look like, you know, bad and all of this. Right? So they use these, that's going back to Isaiah 10:1. They use these laws, they use these situations, they prescribe grievousness. They'll catch you up. If they could catch you up, they're going to catch you up. This is why you got to stay on your P's and Q's, man. Don't fall into these traps. Don't fall into the wiles and the snares of this devil and let him catch you up. Stay out the way, you know. I'm gonna get one more, and then I'm gonna wrap it up. It's Jeremiah 17:10. Yahawah search the heart. I try the reins, even to give every man according to his ways and according to the fruit of his doings. That brings me to what Yahawashi said, man. If I could remember this, the deeds. Basically, every man is tried off of his deeds. I think this might be in Matthew. No. This is a good one, but this ain't the one I wanted. But I'll use this one. All right. This is John 3:20. For everyone that doeth evil hateth the light, neither cometh to the light, lest his deeds should be reproved. But he that doeth truth cometh to the light, that his deeds may be made manifest, that they are wrought in power. Right? So you really, your deeds, and all your deeds ain't seen. You got to keep that in mind. This going back to, not about that outward appearance, but it's about what you really living, what you really doing. All right, so don't get caught up on they know this, know that, you know, I do this, I live this, I do that, boom, boom, boom. Yeah, it don't matter. Yahawah Hashem Yahawashi, bro, his eyes are 10,000 times brighter than the sun. He got the eye. Yo, I'm thinking about Nikes. I guarantee you, some Nikes gonna pop up on the advertisement. All right, but Yahawah got more than that. And then AI, if we really be serious about it, AI is reading your brain waves now. It comes times where you thinking about something and AI will put that on the screen. It'll advertise it to you. I've seen this happen. And I looked into it and I was like, oh, this shit is real. So they're actually examining your brain waves now. Okay? Because Esau is trying to be just like Yahawah. He want to know what's going on in your insides. They want to have what? Inside surveillance. And the first form of that is going into you and examining your brain waves, man. This is what this devil on. This is the type of technology that Yahawah has given him, you know, privilege to have to set him up. Yahawah has made him strong, right? Just to bring him down, to glorify him, to glorify Yahawah Ba'ashem Yahawashi, right? So you got to think about it in a sense, like our enemy is, hey, it makes for a better story. Right? That our enemy is actually a tough enemy that you gonna look back and like, yo, we was facing impossible odds, but nothing is impossible for Yahawah Ba'ashem Yahawashi. So we was like, yo, and it was like, yo, and the missiles was right there. But then we started getting beamed up, and it was like, yo, it's like, you know, for real though, man. You know, this is the greatest story ever told. Just the greatest story ever told, man. You know, let me bask in that real quick. But hey, going back to it is I lost my point. Really happy, but oh, your deeds, off your deeds. So that goes into integrity and living right every single day, man. Every single moment, thinking about what you're doing, thinking how you're moving, you know, and just being true, being right, being sincere. All right. At the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? You know, like when I go back to school, when you had your hand up, you know the answer, but you never get called on. But you got the answer, but then what's the name always getting called on or whatever, don't matter. You got the answer, you know the answer, okay? It's gonna come out eventually. Let it come out on your test. Then you pass your test. We all got the test, you know? So it's not about that credit. Credit ain't, fuck credit, all right? It's not about credit. It's not about the titles. It's not about the fame. When you gonna get your fame? Crowning day. Crowning day. Second address, what's that? 2 and 40. You know what I'm saying? Who is this? Who's this young man that crowneth? Right? So when Yahawashi puts that crown upon you, that's when you get your fame, your glory, all of that. Wisdom of Solomon, the 5th chapter. Yahawah, we be those men. That's when you get all of that. So that credit is coming in due time. I don't want no credit in Babylon. Look at the niggas, look at the individuals that have credit in Babylon. Your Jay-Z's, your Dr. Dre's, your Beyonce's, and all this credit is rooted in wickedness. The origins is wickedness. Going back to cross, the Wadi Yahawah Shem Yahawashi. So he denied the promotion, and he turned in his badge, his gun and everything, and he said, I don't want to rock with this. I can't do it, because in this system, I'm never going to get the proper credit. I'm never going to be able to do righteousness in the way that needs to be done. It's always going to be an opposition that's stopping true justice from happening. That's why Yahawah Shem Yahawashi is true justice, not this damn society. You can't find justice in this society, man. All right. So wait, with that being said, man, giving all praises, glory, and honor be to Yahawah, Ba'ashem, Yahawashi, Ba'ashem. As always, double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of the great millstone. All right, shalom to the Lord, so for elect. Hey, shalom to my brother Dev. I ain't seen you in a minute. Shalom, Ak. Good to see you, Ak. How about Shem Yasha Barak? All right, Kwam Yasha Allah and Abad Babal. All right, till next time, shalom, shalom.